Today on Lydia's Books, I want to talk about some of the books that I acquired over the holidays. I was ill. If you've watched the last video, I talked about me being sick with COVID and I didn't get a lot of reading done. It really tapped all my energy. And there is a book here that I am going to be picking up shortly, even though it's a seasonal book, but I didn't finish reading it and I was enjoying it so much. But yeah, let's get into it. First, some books that I read lately and books that I received while I was ill and will be reading soon. I'm a little bit behind in my reading and my reviewing. So if you have noticed, I'll be back on a normal schedule, a weekly at least here. So yeah, normally I would read a book at least once a month and review it. And I haven't been doing that in the past couple months. And I feel really bad because I've had some really amazing writers send me books, but I'll be picking back up on that. So we're back on track. We'll start out with what I've read since I've been better. One of the first books that I picked up to kind of get me back into it was kind of a childish thing, The Secret of the Old Clock. This is partially research too because I wanted to get back into all the Nancy Drews. I don't own them all. I'm going to be picking some more up eventually. I thought I'd start with number 1 and 2. The Secret of the Old Clock was such a nice book to revisit. This is not the 1930s edition. This is the redone one in the 50s. I really like this specific line because these are the ones I grew up reading. This and Bobbsey Twins I read quite a bit of. They were my mother's books and they were in the house. And yeah, I didn't keep any of them. We had not a full collection of Nancy Drew by any means, but we had a couple of the older ones, quite a lot of this cycle, and this specific book with this cover is the one that I grew up reading. So we have The Hidden Staircase coming up in the next little stack that I'll be talking about, but yes, I really like this as the introduction to Nancy Drew. She's a young kid. She is like 18 in these. She's younger in the other older series. So she's aged up a little here. She is the daughter of an attorney and she's a bit of a sleuth and she ends up in a bit of a trouble here and wants to help out her neighbors and people in the community who need some money. And there's a family that is keeping all of the inheritance a secret. So yeah, she goes on a quest to see if he didn't leave another will somewhere. You might guess from the title that has something to do with the old clock, but I love this stuff. I love The Hidden Staircase, Twisted Candles, even The Phantom in the Sky was fun for me. So yeah, it'll be fun rereading these. It was simple language, like for kids, and large text, which is helpful in recovering from an illness that just took all my energy away. Coincidentally, I've been rewatching The X-Files, and I will say, revisiting both The X-Files and Nancy Drew books, things I liked so long ago, I noticed that Dana Scully is a bit of a Nancy Drew. Wouldn't you agree? If you watch them both? I mean, she really is. Coming up on the next Dead Air Splatterpictures.net podcast, we talk about Misery. So I reread Misery, and that was a joy. This was a gift from my husband over the holidays, and I was so pleased to get to this. And I ended up finding a copy of the film for like $9 on a crummy DVD. So we ended up watching that, but it was so nice to revisit this. I have not read this since I was a teenager. And there's another one in this stack I'll talk about in a minute. That is another Stephen King book that I read about the same time when I was younger. Haven't read it since, and I'm very excited to get back to it. If you don't know the story of Misery, it is Paul Sheldon, a writer of Regency romance, kind of hokey Regency romance that he's really glad to be done with. He ends up in a car crash after finishing the manuscript for a new book that is not one of his Regency romances. And those Regency romances have to do with a girl named Misery Chastain, hence the name Misery. He ends up in a spot of misery himself when he is saved from his car wreck by his #1 fan, Annie Wilkes. If you've not watched the film or read the book, I recommend either, both. It doesn't really matter. They're both fantastic. And getting to visit a Rob Reiner extravaganza like Misery was really, really touching and nice. So yeah, highly recommend. I'd have to say Misery, like a lot of Stephen King, is really good gateway horror too. And this was a real joy. After warming up with some Nancy Drew, and before I dug into the Stephen King, because I was reading that for a bit of a chore, The Haunting of Sorrow's Leap by Chris Sorensen. Thank you, Chris, for sending this along. This is amazing. I had a lot of fun with this. Now, it's not as gothic as I had hoped, but for fans of Kill Creek, where you like to see some horror personalities put into a horror story come to life, that's a lot of what this is. There are some psychics that are at a fair, and if you've gone to a psychic fair or a horror convention, same sort of vibe. They are all kind of together and sort of a motley crew that are assembled by a rich, extravagant person who wants them to investigate Sorrow's Leap, this wonderful mansion that is out there on the edge of this cliff. And yeah, just that setting alone, mansion on a cliff, whole bunch of psychics that are brought together to come and investigate. Absolutely loved it. It's got kind of shades of Hell House going on in there, shades of 13 Ghosts, a lot of the feeling of Kill Creek, even though these aren't writers. They are, kind of adjacent to that in being professionals that are well known, that have TV personalities, and there is a lot of modernity to this. It is a modern horror. If you enjoyed stuff like Kill Creek or 13 Nights at Rotterhouse, this will be up your alley. I really enjoyed it, and I will have a written review and a video review coming up soon because I had a lot of fun with it. So that is what I've read lately, and there are some books here that I'm picking up soon that I have half read and will get back into or have received while I wasn't reading a lot and will be reading right away. First off, what I'm reading right now is Jingly Jangly because I've got my bookmark in it. My bookmark that came from author Mary Rajat. It's Little Butterfly, or Death Head's Moth, more accurately, and I love it. So I'm reading another Nancy Drew, The Hidden Staircase. This is another throwback and something to just kind of keep me on the easy road to reading more again. If you yourself are in a reading slump, then I highly recommend picking up some old favorites, Goosebumps maybe, Nancy Drew, something like that, that will ease you back into it. You rediscover that joy of reading maybe. I would like to say pick up The Hobbit instead of Lord of the Rings books because it's a lot easier, right? You Can't Take It With You by Marcus Hawk. I picked this up right before the holidays, started reading it, got sick over the holidays, and I wanted to pick it back up because I was really having a lot of fun with it. I'm a December baby. The star of the show here is a December baby, and I'll have more on this book as soon as I'm finished reading it. I'm kicking myself because it's not like it's complex. It was super fun, dark, witty, really good Marcus Hawk fare, but yeah, I want to pick this back up. So after I'm finished reading my Nancy Drew, I'll get back into this mystery. I have a distinctly enjoyable memory of reading that book, You Can't Take It With You by Marcus Hawk, while I was eating breakfast. I took myself out for breakfast right before my birthday, and it was about a birthday, and it was just a perfect time. So I want to kind of recapture that. Even though it's not snowing here today, there is still snow on the ground, so it still fits. So the author, Stephen Vincent, sent this wonderful thank you card along with A Town Called October. Now, if you're interested in things like the Cameron Chaney Autumn Crow books, this is going to be for you. I've only started reading it, already very much enjoying it, and really grateful from this amazing artist and author to have sent all of these cute little things. Peppered in throughout the book was a whole bunch of swag, including really cool stickers and awesome bookmarks that I believe are the work of the artist, the author himself. So yeah, Canadian author, very pleased to be reading A Town Called October. It's outside of the season, but hey, it's kind of Halloween all the time around here, so I think this fits. A Town Called October, 6 Tales of Terror. Set in the strange and shadow-haunted town of October Bay, 6 tales of terror slither from the twisted mind of horror author Stephen Vincent. Be warned, for beneath October Bay's quiet old-world charm lie hidden secrets more terrifying than your darkest nightmares. Once you walk down its moonlit streets, you may never find your way out. Malignant monsters hide in abandoned attics, hungry horrors lurk in dank cellars, and eldritch abominations reach out from the tattered edges of reality itself. So enter if you dare, and it's got a photo of the author. Yeah, this is really, really Really wonderful stuff. So yeah, looking forward to finishing this. And again, it's a shorter book, so I think I'll have a lot of fun getting back into these shorter books before I dig into an Adam Nevill tome. Now, not that it's a tome, but it was recommended by a viewer, so thank you very much. I'll have more on this as soon as I dig in. So I'll finish those books for the next week or so, and then spend a week reading this. I'm trying to have a target, really, when it comes to a novel, full novel length book, of a book a week. That seems really attainable. It's back to what my normal reading was for the most part. Sometimes I would read 2 books in a week, but I'm just going to have a goal of 1 book a week. I love the cover. I really do like Adam Nevill's work, and I haven't read enough of it, so it's nice to get into this more recent piece too. Now, I don't have my glasses, so reading this small text on black is tough in this dim-ish light, so I've pulled up the description. The Red Knight of Bells heralds a global catastrophe. Annihilation on a biblical scale. Seeing the morning is no blessing. A handful of scattered survivors are confronted by blood-red skies and an infestation of predatory horrors that never originated on Earth. An occupying force intent on erasing the remnants of animal life from the planet. Across the deserted landscapes of England, bereft of infrastructure and society, the overlooked can either hide or try to outrun the infernal hunting terrors. So it's like an alien apocalypse survivor story. It was pitched to me as very like World War Z kind of stuff going on here. Very zombie apocalypse, but with aliens. And of course, demonic to a certain degree, I would guess, coming from Adam Nevill. The demons and the terrors don't end there, because it was my birthday. I had an amazing haul of wonderful books gifted to me by my wonderful husband, and we did do a little bit of book shopping here and there, and just random books that crossed my path, because I can't help but, when you go somewhere and you see a sign that says used books over here, that's where I end up. So there's a book or two in this stack like that, and things that aren't books at all. What's in the box? Well, what is in the box? What is in the box is what we will find out at the end of this video. I had said that there are splatterpunk things. There's extreme horror in this pile, and these are just the tippy top of it. The first is a German version of Incubus, which, was a fluke, but I'm very excited. I am learning French right now. I'm learning French for my job and because of the country I live in, and I have French people in my family. It would be nice to be able to have a conversation in their native language with them, right? But this is German, and it's a language of my forefathers that I would really like to learn someday. So who knows, maybe this will come in handy. I mean, you can't just rely on industrial German techno to teach yourself a language, right? So finally, a German book that isn't a Bible in this house. But it was really part of this Edward Lee's Incubi and Succubi. I am very excited to dig into these. This is a duo that I've not read, so I'm very excited. Was it a sex killer or something worse? He promises them his love, then kills them without mercy. Each seduction ends in death, each victim murdered in bed. Detective Jack Kordsman has vowed to unravel the demented mystery, to enter the heart of the maniac's temptation, where desire demands the ultimate price. And Angels of Love, long, sleek legs, siren-like faces, flawless, naked bodies glazed in moonlight and sweat. Demons of desire. No prayer can save you, nor force of will can resist their unholy caress. Ooh. So yeah, very Edward Lee in his prime. More extreme, more splatter, more fun, more cowpunk, kind of. Before we get into near the end of this video, I'll talk about the splatterpunk of it all. Y'all ain't right. This is a reckoning of Southern extreme horror. So cowpunk got J.R. Lansdale, the king of extreme Southern horror. Casey Lansdale, Edward Lee, Jeff Strand, Rath James White, Christopher Triana, who I am now a big fan of, Christopher Ruffty, Ryan Harding, always a big fan of, Christine Morgan, Daniel J. Volpe, I enjoy Daniel Volpe's work, Bridget Nelson, Gregory Norris, Candace Nola, Eric Butler, Douglas Ford, Lucas Milliron, and Patrick R. McDonough. Now, this is cool. Edited by K. Trap Jones. I love the art on this. It is looking like it's going to be super fun. It's a very little read, it seems. So yeah, all of those authors jam-packed into this little tiny book. A Reckoning of Southern Extreme Horror. And it's got this piggy picture on the back with all of the authors' names carved in his little belly. So adorable. This comes out from Evil Cookie Press, and I've never gotten anything from them, but I've seen that press name around a lot, especially in extreme horror, so I'm very excited to get to this. Now, there's quite a bit of weird fiction coming up here. Not So Weird, Thinner by Stephen King. I like this movie as well. This really stuck with me. I probably watched and read these around the same time as Misery, well after I had read things like Pet Sematary and Thinner. So I got into his more horror first, and then read a little bit more of his tragedy horror. Not that Misery isn't. Misery's terrifying. Thinner is a little more psychological and supernatural. I really liked this book quite a lot, so I'm very happy to be able to get back into it again. And this is a man that is cursed. He's wishing for weight loss, basically. And I think that's really timely because there's a lot of people in North America that are in the throes of wishing for weight loss, and their wishes are being granted. If you have seen headlines like I have about complications related to GLP-1 medications, that has been the thinner curse, right? We're all eating that pie these days. So yeah, it'll be interesting to revisit this sort of original body horror. Now, this was a special request from me to my husband for my birthday. Leonard Press has a vast library of these books. These are 3 of the Algernon Blackwood series, who has ties to Canada, and I'm very interested to read beyond The Willows and the Wendigo. If you think you've not read any Algernon Blackwood, you just may have. The Wendigo appears in this book. It is loosely adapted. It's much shorter, of course, but it's got the same sort of beats, the same character names, and it takes place in the same area here in Canada. So that was written while he was here working for the New York Times years and years ago, of course, in the 1870s. And yeah, he didn't stay here too long from what I understand, maybe less than a decade. But in that time, he turned down or got passed over for a job at Canadian Pacific Railway. He worked for the New York Times, and he also began the Toronto Theosophical Society. So a child of Madame Blavatsky himself. Aside from a very accomplished writer, he's written 20 novels or something and 7,000 trillion short stories, because they're not really sure how many short stories he wrote, because he wrote a lot for papers on a rush deadline. Just all of a sudden, to fill some pages, he'd, write 12 inches of short story, stick it in the newspaper. But here we are with the Leonard Press. These are kind of rarish and hard to come by for whatever reason. I have the Bessie Kiffin Taylor book from the same collection, and I want more of it. So, of course, Volume 1 has 13 short stories and novelettes of the strange and unusual, and the next has 8 short stories and 1 novelette and 1 novella of the strange and unusual, 18 short stories in Volume 3, and 1 novella of the strange and unusual, including The Transfer, Entrance and Exit, The Eccentricity of Simon Parnicute, and The Temptation of the Clay. Those are all stories I've never ever read. So yeah, very excited to get to Algernon Blackwood. Oh, what's in the box, you say? I do not know. Maybe we'll wait a little longer to get into what's in the box. What's in the box? What's in the box? A little book that I picked up on my own. This was, oh my God, I can't even remember where this was. A little used bookstore that we were in. This was on a birthday visit, Christmas visit to Almont. I wanted to go and have afternoon tea at Christmas Town itself, Almont, Ontario. It's such a cute, dainty little town. We had cute, dainty little sandwiches and a cute, dainty little cafe, and then went around all the little shops there, because they have a lot of antique shops, they have a lot of bookstores, they have a lot of cute cafes and butchers and bakers and candlestick makers. I got Blusenose Ghosts. This is an East Coast true ghost story book. This is a wonderful collection of those stories which many Nova Scotians like to tell when the lamps are lighted and long shadows haunt home and countryside. The stories are often hair-raising, and many are said to be based upon personal experiences. Certainly, as Dr. Helen Creighton tells them, they all seem real enough and convincing. This is an anthropologist and folklorist of some renown. The dust jacket here is worse for wear. It's very tattered. It's falling apart. It's still quite gorgeous, though. I couldn't pass up this sort of Blackbeard-looking pirate guy on the cover. It comes from Ryerson Press in Toronto, from Ryerson University, I assume. And this is published in about 1957. So I consider it a treasure. Someday I'll hope to visit Nova Scotia. My husband has, my relatives have. It's my turn soon, and yeah, I'm very excited to go and see Nova Scotia entirely, Halifax specifically, and the Maritime Museum that is there. There's a Titanic exhibit from what I understand, and this book will play in nicely. This was a real cream of the crop when it came to my Christmas wish list. I've had this on a wish list for a long time. I've had my eyes out for this book for a long time, specifically in hardcover. This is another Canadiana, really, honestly, because the story of Michelle Remembers, a girl that was put through regression therapy and went through hypnosis therapy to remember a whole bunch of sadistic cult ritual sexual abuse that was all fabricated, mostly by her doctor. So yeah, Michelle Remembers took place in the west coast of Canada, and it was really what sparked a lot of the satanic panic. I'm really quite lucky in that this has the dust jacket. It is in really, really good condition, nearly unread condition, and I am looking forward to revisiting this quite a lot. I read a paperback when I was younger, like a lot of people, read things like Go Ask Alice and Michelle Remembers. They were given them to read. People were given those books to read, usually as a cautionary tale, but yeah, it was just fun because it's kind of true crime at that point, right? So yeah, a true story of a year-long contest between innocence and evil. Michelle Remembers by Michelle Smith and Lawrence Pasder, medical doctor, who turned out to be her lover and future husband. So kind of ick, but yeah, really, really, really pleased to own this corner piece of the satanic panic. There are other corner pieces of oddities here. This is actually the most tame. The next one is a little untame, a little bit controversial. This is a reproduction of a whole bunch of the Third Reich magazine that was distributed outside of Germany for allies of theirs. Hitler's wartime picture magazine, Signal is the name of it. There were other magazines and, trade magazines put out by the Third Reich, and this is just one of them. And it has some really fantastic photographs, really fantastic design to it, and it is propaganda. Like, it's a 100% propaganda tool from the Third Reich. It's very interesting to have stumbled upon this. I went to the War Museum. We went to see a Royal Canadian Legion display that is there that highlights the grave of the unknown soldier that is downtown here in Ottawa. And we went to see a whole bunch of other memorabilia, specifically Second World War things. And I really, really enjoyed some of the new war, modern warfare exhibits. It was not as interesting from a historical point of view, of course, because a lot of it is modern. But I was very excited to see interesting things from the Second World War from the German side, and a large piece of the Berlin Wall. I knew they had a piece of the Berlin Wall, or I was sure they had a piece of the Berlin Wall, but I expected like a chunk. They had a full section of it, and wow, that was really humbling to see. I really, really liked seeing that. They had a small piece of one of the planes that hit one of the towers in New York City in 9/11. So that was really touching. There's a lot of really touching things, and they always give like a warning, like the things you're going to see are about war. It's all terror and misery, but it is there as a learning tool, and we learned a lot. It was great. And then they had a book sale. There was a huge veterans book sale there, and I went in and looked at a lot of amazing veterans used books, and this was one of them. I was really surprised to see it there, and it was only $8. And I definitely added a little more as a donation because it is all veteran services. So yeah, this was a real oddity. And it's mostly the design that I like the most about this era. This Soviet design, German design, really flavored a lot of our most favorite graphic design movements here in North America. So yeah, Hitler's wartime picture magazine. I've only got a couple more weird things to talk about, but briefly, of course, Remark magazine came in over the holidays, and it's highlighting the new Silent Hill. I'm very excited to see the new Silent Hill. I know a lot of people are really here and there about it. I think it looks great. I enjoyed the films. I know, like, there is a rift between those who enjoyed the games and the films, and sometimes those streams cross. I really like when Remark magazine chooses something to work on in depth, and I was pretty pleased to see that Silent Hill is one of those things. I really liked their Del Toro Frankenstein centered issue, and this is going to be really helpful once I see the film. Still in the wrapper, as part of my birthday extravaganza, this was not a book. Dracula, Il Vampiro, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. It's a puzzle. I have a puzzle from the film Pieces. It's the iconic puzzle of the woman that the young boy is putting together at the beginning of the film. This is a little easier of a puzzle to put together, I'd say, because that one has a lot of I don't know. If you've put together the Pieces puzzle ever, you may be able to commiserate. It's just a lot of purple and pink, nothing, right? It's really tough. I know Andrea Subasati from Remark magazine also owns that puzzle, and I'm curious if she were watching, if she had as much trouble as I did. But if you've put that puzzle together, you probably agree this looks a lot easier and a lot more fun. So yeah, I'm gonna put that one away for now and put this one on my puzzle mat and get started. It's only 500 pieces. I think it'll be a breeze. So this is a harbinger for things that are on the last bit of the stack here. This is Weird Tales, 100 Years of Weird, edited by Jonathan Mayberry. Has a whole lot of the usual suspects, including Isaac Asimov, H.P. Lovecraft, Robert E. Howard, R.L. Stine, Laurel K. Hamilton. Very excited to get into this. Just a conversation about weird tales as it is, let alone new stories. So I really like this kind of look back at the iconic magazine itself. And I didn't own any weird tales. There's some found poetry, Blackout poetry by Jessica McHugh. I was just going to say, Jessica McHugh, Bram Stoker award-winning Jessica McHugh does great Blackout poetry, and now I have some. So that's really cool. Congratulations, Jessica, on that. But yeah, I am looking forward to pawing through this as I paw through my own issue of Weird Tales. Yes, I am handling it with my bare paws. It's out of its plastic wrapper. I am the proud owner of the July 1947 Vampire Curious Lore and Evil Legend. This is amazing. Oh my god. I have not only a copy of Weird Tales that has a Ray Bradbury story in it. I also have my own copy of the comic where the guy gets sand kicked in his face and has to go to get the Charles Atlas bodybuilding regimen. I mean, come on. I mean, really. That's what it's all about, having that comic. So yeah, I'm very excited. This has so many amazing stories in it. The Will of Claude Usher, The Damp Man, The Churchyard Yew, Parrington's Pool, Interim, The Robe of Forgetfulness, The Dog That Came Back, The Breeze and I, which is quite lovely. The Ray Bradbury story, of course, is the Interim. And The Digging at Pistol Key, which I've never heard of, by Carl Jacobs. Yeah, Sheridan Le Fanu. Really, really, really lovely art on the cover. I mean, I could not be more pleased. I don't need to own every single of a thing. I'm not a collector. I like having just a stand-in. This is a great hologram for the rest of Weird Tales in my estimation. Very pleased. The Vampire Curious Lore and Evil Legend. That art is amazing. Now, of course, I do have some more Weird Tales in digital format. This is a disc that has a whole bunch of digitized records. Now you can find a lot of Weird Tales on the Internet Archive, and this is a lot of the same people who were responsible for archiving it there have archived it here. Now, I am very excited to be able to dig through some of the iconic stories that appeared in Weird Tales, as excited as I am to hold a beautiful specimen of its original run. My husband is an extremely thoughtful person. I have a very long wish list. As many books as you see behind me here, there are like 700 times more that I would love to be able to own. Being able to own some of them in a condensed digital format is fine with me. Also being able to own hard to find zines is another end of that spectrum. So here we are with the box. We have the box. What is in the box? I kept alluding to Splatterpunk. You've seen a little bit of extreme horror there, but we'll get into what's in the box. What is in the box is more than the first issue of Splatterpunk. I do not know in what crazy dark alley he found this in, but wow. I never thought I would hold this in my hands. Punk on Punk, a column by Wayne Simmons. Horror, X-rated fiction, beware. This came out in 2012. New fiction by Jeff Strand, Tim Curran, Jack Bantry, W.G. Galliani, Dave Benton. Interviews with Jack Ketchum, Andre Duza, and Rath James White. I have a little sticker over the cover, and it's not like it's explicit or anything. It's a guy wearing jeans, but I got this Splatterpunk sticker with like issue 11 or something like that, because I do have some Splatterpunk. I used to have more. I don't know what all happened to them, but yeah. Good Time 7-inch combo. Bunch of punk rock music talk on the back. I'll be reading this shortly. I am so very, very excited to own issue 1 of Splatterpunk. And not just issue 1, but the whole shebang. Bagged and boarded, nevertheless. Issue 2, issue 3, issue the 4th, issue 5, and so on. I mean, look at all this beautiful, beautiful stuff. I mean, I can't zoom in on it, I don't think, because it is YouTube here after all. But yeah, I've got some doubles because what I've done is I've put the doubles on the back if I have a double, right? So yeah, wow. All the way up until issue 14, which just came out, I think is still available too. These are always in such high demand because once Jack Bantry has it out, it gets distributed and goes away. Like most zines, you know, they're ephemeral things. I don't know what fool out there parted with these, but yeah, I am the lucky recipient of an entire run of Splatterpunk Zine, and I could not be happier because I'll continue buying it, of course. But to have from the beginning to end is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So have you ever read Splatterpunk Zine? Or if this is the first you're hearing of it, I am so sorry that it is hard to get all the old copies. You can check out Splatterpunk, a Big Cartel. Just Google it, you'll find it. Splatterpunk Zine. And Jack Bantry is the editor of it. Very, very, very important stuff. You want to read some of Adam Caesar's Splatterpunk short stories? You'll find them in here. You want some old Jack Ketchum? You'll find it in here. Brian Keene, Ryan Harding. You like them guys? They're in here. So yeah, really beautiful stuff. 10-year anniversary issue was number 13. Number 14's out, like I said, probably still in circulation. They're kind of irregular, so now we're waiting on 15. But I am so, so pleased. I will be talking about them as I read through them, one by one. I figure, since I'm a little bit behind through the month, we'll start with like 2 a month coming soon, okay? I think that sounds fun. But yeah, if you've read them, let me know. If you're interested, let me know. And yeah, I love Splatterpunk. So that is a lot to read, a lot to fit on these shelves. So I'll be starting out with a little bit of Nancy Drew, finishing my read through of Marcus Hawk's You Can't Take It With You, and then Into a Town Called October. So is there anything here that really caught your eyes, or things that you have owned, like Michelle Remembers or the Nancy Drew books? Are you an Algernon Blackwood fan? Or, of course, do you collect Splatterpunk Zine? Let me know in the comments below. We won't have a haul for quite some time. I'm going to be on a little bit of a book buying ban while I digest a whole bunch of these weird tales and the extreme horror and, God, even wild, controversial magazines from the 30s. Wow, who knows? That's a lot of reading. Thank you so much for watching, and have an ooky, spooky day.